What's up, guys? Welcome back to Among the Fence. I am your host, Aaron, and today we're going to be talking about the song Youngblood by the band Wage War. Wage War is a metalcore band. They started about 2010. They are from Florida, and they have 3 studio albums, and the song Youngblood comes off of their debut album, Blueprints. And this song is actually a request from a good friend of mine named Tom, and when I saw that he requested this song by Wage War, my first instinct was, well, I'm not very familiar with Wage War. I've heard a few of their songs here and there. I pretty much love their sound from what I've heard, but I haven't listened to a full album. And I was like, you know what? I might as well start with Blueprints, the very beginning, where this song is from, and I'll do a review on that whole album. And it didn't really work out that way. So I've listened to the album a few times now, and I didn't really pay too much attention to lyrics. I was just trying to get the general feel of the sound and the emotion that's on the album so I can kind of have a clear head when I go into it and I start actually dissecting stuff. That way I'm just familiar with it and the music and the sound, and nothing really catches me off guard for the first time. And when I was going through it, reading the lyrics, everything was fine. And then I got to Youngblood, and now I understand why he requested this song. And I know why he did it too, Tom. Yeah, I know why you did it, you little asshole. So Wage War had a fan who worked at Guitar Center, and he knew one of the singers, Cody Quistad, or Quistad. I'm not quite sure how you say his name properly. And I believe a couple other band members, like Chris Gaylord, their bass player. So he worked maybe Guitar Center or some kind of music store, and they grew close through that relationship, and he was always at the band's shows. And then one day they saw this news report about suicide rates and why, and just how they were going up and stuff. And then started to hear different rumors of things, and they looked it up, and they found out that their friend, I believe his name was Lewis, their friend and fan had committed suicide. And that's what Youngblood is about. The intro starts out with this staticky kind of radio news broadcast where it has the female anchor talking about the suicide rates going up. It's that little insert. When it goes into the verse, it has this pretty generic sounding metalcore riff, but the drum work has some really, really good pacing and tempo to it. And it's almost like just a giant build-up through the entire song, especially when transitioning between sections of songs from verse to chorus, verse to chorus. The drums are actually pretty much what carry the song in that sense. The guitar work is always doing something, but it doesn't have a whole lot of progression to it. It just basically sticks to whatever section of the song it's in. The one thing I do know about Wage War from the little things I've heard here and there, and from being able to listen to the first half of this album, is that they're very good at writing music. They're very good at writing songs. They're just phenomenal musicians that work very good together. Probably the only part of the song that I didn't really enjoy was the breakdown, only because it's just very dull sounding, and that's pretty much it. There's honestly nothing that could have been done better. And my favorite part is probably the bridge. The entire song is really big and intense, but when it gets to the bridge, it just becomes very gentle and very graceful, and the vocals are very sincere, and the lyrics, this whole song is very passionate and personal, but in the bridge I felt like the lyrics were really just coming from the heart. Wage War also has 2 vocalists, Cody Costad, who I mentioned, who also plays the rhythm guitar, and Britton Bond, who does all of the dirtier distorted vocals. And Cody is probably one of the most underrated clean vocalists in metal today. And honestly, just the 2 of them is probably my favorite duo in music. And they do a good job at mixing the clean and the distorted vocals throughout all of their songs, especially in this one. And it helps to really just drive home the emotion, especially during the bridge when Cody has all the clean vocals going on, and then right when we get to the bottom, Britton just screams, "You are loved," and it just drives the whole purpose and just the emotion and everything you're feeling. It just drives it home. And for the lyrics, this song is as raw as it can be when it goes through all the motions of knowing someone who has taken their own life. I mean, it talks about not knowing why they did, like the people who are still around, they're wondering why it happened, and talking about how this kid specifically was only 17 and he has such a bright future. And it goes on to say, I hope you know how much you were missed and how much you meant to those that were around you and the impact you had on everybody's life that you were involved in. And the outro of the song is probably the most painful because it deals with finding closure and just the aftermath of the situation. And it says, there's so many things I wish I would have said. And it talks about there's flashbacks of just things replaying in his head. And the song is all that I have because you're never coming back. My friend who requested this song, both of us have a friend who we were really close to, and he was in bands with him, and I played the guitar with him a lot. I went over to his house all the time, and I pretty much grew up with him. I've known him for about 20 years, give or take. And I mean, we learned how to skate together. I met him in 4th grade. I transferred schools so I could be, I mean, he was my best friend. I basically spent all of my adolescent years with him. And in 2017, life became a little bit too hard for him. So, he just decided it wasn't meant for him anymore. And this song pretty much goes over, at least for me, everything that I was feeling and going through when I learned that this happened. And even 3 years later, hearing these words, it's pretty painful. And I honestly thought I would have been able to hold it together a little bit better than I am now, but Youngblood just deals with this subject in such a tasteful and sincere and tangible way. And I've heard a lot of songs that talk about suicide, but this is the most real one I've heard. So with all that said, I gotta give Youngblood by Wage War a 5 out of 5. Obviously, you guys didn't expect me to give it a less than perfect rating, but that's one thing I love about music is that this hits home for me so well, and music is very subjective, and that's one thing I always try and push on my reviews is that the music is subjective, and this is all 100% opinion. So with that being said, go ahead and give this song a listen. I'm going to put a link to it in the description below, and let me know what you guys would rate it. And as always, if you guys have a album or song you want me to review, new or old, go ahead and leave a comment below letting me know what they are. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down and let me know why you didn't like my take on this song and why you think differently. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon so you get notified when I do upload videos. Helps me out a ton, helps support my channel doing any of those things, liking, subscribing, commenting, even giving me a thumbs down. All of that is deeply appreciated. Thank you guys so much for taking your time to watch my video. Thank you guys for all my subscribers who stuck with me, new and old. I appreciate it more than you guys could ever know. I hope you guys all have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. I was